Good morning, InSpirit. This is a wonderful opportunity to be with you and share some things that I've been thinking about this last week with the topic, trusting the inner compass. So in a world that is filled with noise, constant motion, opinions, it is easy to lose touch with the quiet guidance that arises from within. We've heard about that guidance and that location of this presence from the songs that have been sung, from the prayer. We're familiar with this song, but now we want to go even deeper with it. So we're invited with this topic to trust that sacred voice, the still small whisper that aligns us with the truth and purpose. Now, the inner compass is not just merely intuition. It is the spark of divine wisdom placed within each of us. Now, we know this, and now we're trying to embody it a little bit more deeply. And I remember a story when I was being mentored in philosophy. And there was a story about the 3 wise women. We don't always hear about the wise women. But they were there, and they're still there. And so the 3 wise women were given this task of where to place the greatest power of the universe. And they thought about it, and one wise woman said, "What if we put it on the highest mountain?" They thought, no, too many people would look there. How about the deepest ocean? We'll find a place that's really deep. And they thought about that. They thought, no, too many people would find it there. And the 3rd wise woman said, let's put it within each person. They would never think of looking there. So if you can find your way to that 3rd choice, and it's true, we want to make sure that the people who have this power are using it well. And the inner compass, the first point is that it's a divine gift. It's a gift that we've been given. We hear about that also in some of the scriptural references. All that I have is thine. You are my beloved, in whom I am well pleased. And this kingdom and queendom of God is yours. So we come from a divine inheritance of this gift. And once we know where that is, then we can work with it. The kingdom of God is within you, we hear in Luke. So we want to be able to apply this. So what do we do first thing in the morning? Do we check our phone for emails? Do we look at the news and just brush through the titles? Or do we run to our meditation seat and have some time to just be still and know? So we want to cultivate that practice because it's so easy to understand what we're saying with all of this, but it's a whole different level to practice it. So we want to remind ourselves and how wonderful it is to do that in spiritual community, that we have a practice that we are developing. And that's why the Adventures in Faith is so wonderful this year, because that's our topic, how to live in this divine flow and be guided by this wonderful power that we are. So the inner compass we've been speaking about it speaks in stillness. And we've got to be still in order to know that. It rarely shouts. It speaks in quiet knowing, a calm clarity that emerges when we are still enough to hear it. And in a world that is fraught right now with a lot of noise and a lot of contrary viewpoints folding into each other, then this message of stillness is important. And I'll share a story about the inner compass because I've also had an experience with the outer compass. So I was going with my partner to Catalina. And we had our boat. We have a boat named Sophia, which means wisdom. I thought it was a great title for our boat. Okay, so here we are. We're going one morning to Catalina. And I get seasick, so I wear a patch, which is this medicinal way that I won't be seasick, so it's great. And I'm just looking to be part of this experience. I had a captain who was with me, so she was right. She was the one who was steering the boat. So I thought I was going to just be passive and just enjoy the 3.5 hours to Catalina. And so we come out of the breakwater, and all of a sudden, the waters become very rough, and it feels like there's like unexpected kind of turbulence. And Sandy says, "Oh boy, we've got a confused sea." And it's actually a term when the winds come from the northwest and the south, and they kind of undulate together. So I thought about this. We sometimes feel like we're living in a confused sea. So what happens is she becomes seasick. And she says, "I've got to lie down. Take the wheel, put it at 180 degrees, and let the compass just take you to Catalina." And before I could say, "What are you talking about? I can't do this," she's already down in the lower deck. And there I am. And what was happening here is now I've got this compass. I have to keep it in 180 degrees. And I had to keep letting the boat go from one side to the other in order to keep it that way. But then something very interesting happened. I felt this power within me rise up and give me this confidence of knowing exactly what I had to do, which was a real surprise. And it's the inner compass that got activated. So we have an outer compass that takes us to a certain direction, but an inner compass that takes us to our spiritual lessons. And so my lesson began with knowing that I was capable of steering this boat when I would have what I needed when I needed it. And so the experience of being in the open sea on this boat without anything in sight that resembled something that you would have recognition of. All I saw was the extension of this ocean standing, right before me. And it was magnificent as I kept being with it, hour after hour. And eventually I would see a dolphin jump out of the water or a blackbird flying above me. And I began to become more aware of something. And this was a surprise to me as well. So what happened is, let me find my page. I think it's worth waiting for. Okay. Why do I feel so happy, surrounded by this gray mystery of rolling waves, cool sea mist on my face, and hours folding into eternity? I was close to something, some delight, some primordial remembrance of the Mother Ocean, God in form. She wrapped her arms around my shoulders and supported me as I drove the boat, like a mother assisting a first ride on a two-wheeler. You belong to me. Sky, sun, moon, and children who swim and those that fly overhead, all of these are your family. That's what the inner compass does. it leads us to where we're going that we don't even know we're going there. It leads us to a sense of spiritual oneness here. Here I was seeing the interrelatedness of all beings, being in nature, being in the world. And this is a truth that I'm reminded of again and again. And from this, we have a chance to get what we need. So what I was seeing when I was remembering the story is that there's an outer compass that takes us in the physical world, but the inner compass is a more metaphysical dimension. And we see our oneness with other people. We see our oneness with the world and the world that we're in. And I also see that the inner compass is a moral compass. The inner compass takes us to a dimension like what we do with the Virtue Program. We're developing our moral compass. The moral compass is telling us generosity is more important than stinginess or oblivion to other people's needs. So we see it also in St. Francis' prayer. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is doubt, I may bring faith. Where there is despair, I may bring hope. All of this is the inner compass. It's showing us where to put our cultivation of qualities. And so it's showing us that. Be still and know that I am God. So when we get to apply this, we have to allow ourselves to know that when we're faced with confusion or conflict, resist the urge to act immediately. We take a pause and we allow ourselves to be in that energy of wholeness, of wisdom, of peace. And we ask, and this is so important, we ask, what is my next move? What shall I think next? What thought should I have? And this is a very important part of taking it to the next step and having it be something that we actually do, not just understand. So third point, we see that the inner compass is a divine gift. Second, that the inner compass speaks in stillness. And third, that the inner compass has to do with courage. It felt courageous to be in this unknown and just think being at 180 degrees is going to get me there. I had to trust, and there was nothing else around me that would tell me a better solution. So there's a beautiful quote by Martin Luther King that says, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. So following the inner compass often means stepping away from the familiar path. It leads us into places where logic hesitates, but the soul feels its peace. Trusting this guidance takes courage, the courage to honor the truth even when it diverges from the crowd. And I had this opportunity this week to come in contact with an amazing statement from Jane Goodall. I'd like to read it to us. It's always so challenging to have the papers when you need it, but I have an inner compass. So Jane Goodall, the wonderful primatologist, did an interview that she knew was going to be made available after she died. And she died a few weeks ago. And she was given the space to have her last words be addressed to humanity. And this is what she said. That shows that the inner compass is not just finding out what it is that will make our lives better, but how, when we're knowing that we're part of the whole, it influences the collective. What message do I want to leave after I'm gone? And she's looking directly into the camera, looking into us, and she says, I want to make sure that you all understand that every one of you has a role to play. You may not know it, you may not find it, but your life matters, and you are here for a reason. And I just hope that reason becomes apparent as you live through your life. I want you to know that whether or not you find that role that you are supposed to play, your life does matter. And every single day you live, you make a difference in the world. And you get to choose the difference that you make. I want you to understand that we are part of the natural world. And even today, when the planet is dark, there is still hope. Don't lose hope. If you lose hope, you become apathetic and do nothing. Above all, I want you to think about the fact that we are a part of Mother Nature. We depend on Mother Nature for clean air, for water, for food, for clothing, for everything. And as we destroy one ecosystem after another, as we create worse climate change, worse loss of diversity, we have to do everything in our power to make the world a better place for the children alive today and those that will follow. You have it in your power to make a difference. Don't give up. There is a future for you. Do your best while you're still on this beautiful planet Earth. And I look down upon from where I am now. Our inner compass can take us there, to know what our purpose is, what the role is that we have to play. And I love the part where she talks about don't lose hope. That's what also guides us to the next stages that we're in. And so the inner compass will take us there. So let's just go within and just for a moment put some of these pieces together. How good it is to know that we are gifted with divine intelligence, even greater than the artificial intelligence that we may consult and marvel about. We are part of infinite intelligence that is available to us when we need it. It is the course that guides us in our life, in our interaction, in our awareness that we are one with all living things, that we are one with the sea of humanity, that we have the tools to navigate this time of the confused sea that we may find ourselves in the world today. Let us know that we have the discipline and the wholeness of mind and spirit to be still and know the truth and to ask for guidance that is available to us every minute of every day. And now we not only know it, but we act accordingly. The world is needing us right now, and we have a role to play. And so I just give thanks that we can do this in spiritual community, supporting each other, being the frame of this journey forward into guiding our lives and the planet and the course of history according to this divine inner compass that is also a moral compass. And we give thanks that it leads us to exactly where we need to be and exactly where we need to cultivate whatever values that we're being directed to. And so I just give thanks for this, knowing that it is so, and so it is. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.